This is the Uprising podcast. I'm Pack, and I'm joined with Adam Lumly.
What is up? What is up?
How's it going?
I'm good, man. Outside of these damn sinuses, I'm great.
So, for people that don't know, let's tell them what the podcast is about. You start.
Yeah, of course. So this is a progressive podcast. We are giving platforms to people that are running for Congress, Senate, City Council, governor one day, and hopefully president one day. So we're giving platforms to those candidates. We're going to be interviewing them with follow-up interviews, and we're going to be covering what they do after they get elected, hopefully. And then we're going to be doing a weekly podcast, kind of recapping what happened in politics and give our perspectives, of course. That's essentially what this is going to be.
All right. Well, yeah. Where do we start?
Well, man, it's been a crazy week. Where do we start? A little old, but I kind of wanted to talk about the people protesting over this last weekend. It is really frustrating that they're doing that. I understand that people are really angry. They want to get back to work because they don't have jobs, and really the government's not doing enough to circumvent that. So you got a lot of angry people wanting to hear their voices and make their voices known. Now, I think it's super counterproductive to do that because it's completely defeating the purpose of social distancing. I think it's just going to make the problem worse. There are reports that Betsy DeVos's family is kind of behind some of these protests. I don't know how much of that is true, but I wouldn't be shocked. Certain things kind of don't make sense. Like you see certain signs that kind of look similar in certain parts of the country. Essentially, most of these protests are happening in Democratic states like Michigan and California and places like that. The reports talk about how doing these protests are going to weaken these governors and weaken the states for the Republicans can take over, which I think is possible. I don't want to get too far into that because it kind of sounds like what the Republicans do, since they kind of like to say that people are paid to protest with jurors' money and all that nonsense. So,
Right.
But I think it's a possibility. I think a lot of other people are just being idiots and just want to protest and protest. We had a conspiracy theorist, Alex Jones in Texas, a whole bunch of other doofuses out protesting. One thing, if you want to protest, I don't necessarily agree with. I think it's counterproductive right now. But if you want to protest, at least wear gloves, at least wear masks. Try to social distance as much as you possibly can. But you have people, thousands of people right next to each other, and super counterproductive. You have Michigan, you have people blocking hospitals on way to go, and you have other people not wearing masks or anything. You had this one person had a sign that says COVID-19's a lie, but he had a hazmat suit on, which is I find fairly hilarious. You got other people like saying that we need to return to work, like give me liberty or give me death, which I find ironic.
But see, they didn't. That's protesting. They're protesting. The reason they're not wearing gloves and stuff is because they're protesting more than not being able to go to work. They're obviously protesting the whole virus in their mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is a whole nother level of insanity.
Yeah. You want to expand on that a little bit? What do you feel about the whole situation?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. What they're they don't like to feel like they're being told what to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So when people come out and they say, hey, there's an outbreak of a virus and we think everyone should stay inside so that we can help contain it.
Mm-hmm.
All they hear is, they're trying to tell me to stay inside, and you know what I mean. Like, nobody's gonna tell me to stay outside. I'm gonna go outside now. I'm not gonna stay in the house. You know. So it's just that whole nature is inherent in them. It's like it's installed in their DNA And so when they feel like the government is telling them what to do, that's what they want to protest.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
I find it really frustrating that these people are protesting now, but they weren't protesting, like in Michigan, they weren't protesting the Flint water crisis and people dying from that.
Yeah, because they don't feel like that affects them.
No, of course not. So it's just sheer hypocrisy. A lot of this frustration, honestly, like everyone else. I'm working, so I'm fortunately an essential worker, so I'm having to get in this mess. But you got other people that don't have jobs right now, don't have an income because of the situation with the unemployment. You got tons of people that don't have the unemployment yet because it's such a mess.
Yeah.
So you have people that don't have any money, not getting their stimulus checks for whatever reason, and they're struggling. And people doing this is just going to make it worse. I understand people are frustrated. I don't want to vilify certain people that have just frustrated because the government's not doing anything.
Right.
Which one of the things I want to talk about as well. But you have anything else, Pac, you want to talk about when it comes to that?
I mean, I saw them with their guns, and this is the thing, like white people with masks on and guns at the Capitol building, and there's no issues with that.
Yeah.
If that had been any other race, if that had been an African American person or a Muslim and instead of a Christian, then you see what I'm saying? So it's that kind of world that we're living in. Like,
if you had a whole bunch of Muslims protesting because they want to attend Ramadan or whatever they're doing right now, we would have a huge issue. You would have Fox News losing their minds. You have every Republican losing their minds. You would have our president losing their mind. So, yeah, it's just privilege, white privilege in that sense. Now, I think they should be able to do that. But I think that that's ridiculous that if black people would want to do that as well, or people that are not white and not Christian wanted to do that, then it would be a huge issue, like you said.
Right. Yeah.
And I just have a big problem with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that I feel like the older I get, and I keep thinking, I hope that I don't leave my son in this kind of world. And I just constantly get let down every time I see this kind of rhetoric going on, But
it is hard to not be a nihilist, especially in these days when there's so many things that aren't going right and just getting worse. And what I want to get ready to talk about is this: nothing's coming to save us. Congress, the Senate has just completely failed us. Has completely failed the American people.
Yeah.
$1,200 is not enough.
Nothing.
People here, maybe that's okay, but you got people in California, you got people in Los Angeles and other higher rent areas. That's nothing. That's like that barely would even pay rent. And they gave all this money to corporations. They gave $2 trillion, which could be turned into pretty much $5 trillion. About the Treasury, and you got this new thing they passed for small businesses, but they're allowing these small businesses, quotation mark, actual big businesses, take the money as well. And if they take all the money, then they don't have any money. For actual small businesses, haven't had a chance to apply for that yet, so they don't have any income to pay their employees and keep their business afloat.
Yeah. It's a rigged system. I mean, the thing with Congress, to me, is we don't have enough people in Congress that care about people.
Yeah.
I mean, bottom line, more than 70%, I would probably even go further than that, of the people in Congress all have big donors. Mm-hmm. That's who they have to answer to. The only way you're going to have people in Congress that have to answer to the people is by not having money influence their decisions.
Yeah.
And
Which
as
is
long
a
as
huge
money
issue.
does, yeah, it's to me, it's the number one issue, because I feel like from that, all of these other things spawn. You know, it's like that's like the heart of the dragon, and we're trying to work on just cutting off heads that keep growing back.
Yeah.
But the heart of the issue to me is money and politics, because if you take that aspect out, then what do the people in Congress have to do? They have to actually ask their constituents, what do you guys need? Why don't you guys talk to me and why don't these workers tell me what you need me to do? Union workers, why don't you tell me what, you see what I'm saying? Because I have to answer to you, because you guys got me in here, not some pharmaceutical company, not some oil company or fossil fuel company. Like, so they have to answer to who lines their pockets instead of who gets them in office.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a huge issue. I mean, if people don't know how politics works, say you want something, if you're a wealthy donor and you want something passed, like let's say you want weed fully legalized. So I'm a wealthy donor, PAC is in Congress. Hey, PAC, I'm going to give you $10 million. I want you to do everything you can to get weed legalized. Right. And that's how it works.
Right.
And
now you put it like that, people are thinking, oh, we gotta prosecute him because you shouldn't be able to do that. Well, why not? When it's cannabis, then it's a problem. But when you guys are taking billions of dollars from the pharmaceutical companies, insurance companies, fossil fuel companies, the NRA, so you get paid $30 million from the NRA, and a school gets shot up. Kids shoot up. Someone shoots up a school full of kids with an AK-47. You've been paid $30 million to not say anything.
Yeah.
So money definitely influences politics, because money is power in politics. And as long as that keeps going, I don't think we're going to see much of a change. The only thing that we can do is make sure that we vote and get progressive people in there that don't take money from big donors. They'll listen to the people then. Trust me, everybody who runs off of donations from the voters listens to the voters.
Yeah.
Because it's the voters putting them in that position. And so yeah, it's a big issue. And yeah, Congress has been a constant letdown, especially over these last 4 years, when they should be kicking everything in overdrive. But you know, what can you do?
Vote, support not even just progressive, just vote for people that actually want to care about the populace, the people, not the corporations.
Right.
And that doesn't even have to be on the left. That can be on the right as well.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, which we're going to get into a different time. But
I got you.
Yeah, but that's why it's so important in like your local elections, city council. City council makes rules, man. They're the people that fund things. They make the budgets. They decide a lot of things, and that's why it's so important to vote for your city council, vote for your House members, vote for the Senate, vote for your governor. Other thing I want to talk about is governor. Like Governor Stint right now, he wants to reopen right now, pretty much like tomorrow and May 1st, and that's before we even hit our peak yet. So that's just going to get everything way worse, and we're going to just continue having this problem in my eyes. And this is going to be more people in the fall, especially. I think certain people are going to have it in the summer, and this is just not going to go away. And that's the thing. Like, and Democrats haven't been much better, honestly. Like, everyone wants to, especially on the Democratic side, especially the corporate Dems, they just want to blame Trump for everything. Like you guys had the information too. Like there was Democrats in that council in January telling them about this is going to be serious. This is coming. You could have said something, not even directly, because I was top secret information at the time. But you could have leaked stuff, but they didn't. They didn't. And I thought this was coming in February, late February, and PAC was pretty much on the same boat. And it came, and now we have this huge issue. If two people that are not even in Congress and don't have that information thinks it's coming, either they should know this coming or they didn't know, they didn't do anything about it, which is absolutely ridiculous. And
Either way.
And it absolutely infuriates me that both sides that completely failed the American people. And we could have done so much more. We should have been preparing in January when we actually knew about this, because it was happening in December. Like, I don't see how people didn't think that the members of Congress and the government didn't think this was coming to us. We're such a world that's so revolving. We do so much trade with China. I don't know how you didn't think that was going to come. And I mean, I salute for Trump for doing the China ban, but he didn't fully do it. He still sent 40,000 people to come, which they were American people, but they didn't put them in isolation, what they should have. So that spread the thing. And in New York, most of the cases from them were from Europe. So President Trump acted too slow, and no one else made him do anything about it. Because the Democratic establishment were too worried about kicking Bernie out of the nomination and making sure he wasn't a nominee. Now, we're going to talk more about Bernie in a different episode, but we've been failed so much. And I'm just so frustrated. I've been so frustrated the last 2 months, pretty much. I've been just like a constant anger.
Yeah.
And we just have economies are going to take forever to recover in my eyes, because I don't think this is going away. So, and now we have this issue that people are going back to work and they're going to be getting sick, and I don't know what's going to happen, honestly. And what do you think, Pac?
Oh man, what do I think is going to happen? I have no idea. I mean, like you said, I mean, we had a weak response, and I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due, but at the same time, like, he's only doing those things for show.
Yeah, I mean, he was saying it was a hoax in mid-February.
He was downplaying the whole thing.
He didn't really start taking it seriously until like mid-March.
Oh yeah, a lot of people are gonna die. Oh, I tell you what, maybe you should take this pill and this pill. Yeah, that's it. Take the pill. Take it.
Yeah.
What do you have to lose?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
And like, mainstream media has been such terrible on this issue.
And they feed them. They feed that ego every day.
Yeah. Fox News saying it wasn't a hoax until Trump started saying it was real. And he had CNN and MSNBC backing Pelosi, saying that you should be going to restaurants and this is xenophobic. But like, it was an issue. Like, this is not just a Chinese issue. This is like all of us issue. Like, this is not coming from like China necessarily anymore after a point when it started spreading. So I'm frustrated. We're just in the cycle of just incompetence in my eyes, and the Democratic Party is paid to be incompetent, which is back on money and politics. Yeah, they pretty much destroyed Bernie's campaign, but they're like that's the first time I've ever seen the Democratic establishment actually do something and not be incompetent. But when it comes to Republicans, they're so weak and feckless and don't do anything really. Just kowtow to them.
And that's the same donors. It's like, hey,
essentially,
if you okay, let's look at this like boxing. Okay, so you're a boxing promoter. So let's call the boxing promoter the donor. Okay.
Yeah.
So you pay both fighters, but you pay one to lose.
Yeah.
So that's why, when all this stuff's going on, Nancy's ass is so disconnected from reality. You think going on a TV show and showing off this fabulous refrigerator and how, oh, I love ice cream, I don't know, whatever. People are starving out here, you psychopath.
Yeah.
Like and then look what the Trump campaign did. Made an ad that just shredded her, just tore her to pieces. She gotta go, man. I'm sorry we just like ripped right into that, but
that's fine.
she is part of the problem. You cannot win the game if the pitcher is being paid by the other team.
And you can't win the game if the pitcher sucks.
Right.
It's one thing.
She sucks. She's paid to suck.
And it's one thing if they're actually effective, but they're terrible at politics. Absolutely terrible at politics. Like,
she hasn't been effective ever. Not in my lifetime.
How did you not have advisors telling you, don't do that. That's not a good look. Republicans are going to use that against you.
Right. Maybe film your video in the den by a window with a bird instead of in your refrigerator when people are starving and trying to find food and you're just talking about ice cream.
But that's the problem, though. That's the problem. That's the den establishment. They want to worry about stupid things like that.
That's it. She just represented them all at once.
They care about stupid things like that. Oh my God, celebrity nonsense. Like, people are starving. They don't have food and ice cream. Like, that's fine if you like ice cream. Most people like ice cream. That's okay. I don't have a problem with that. But in this situation, like, what are you doing?
Who you are? It's like who you are too. Like, you're supposed to be leading the Democratic Party. Come on, man.
She's essentially the head of the Democratic Party, and like they're giving Republicans the softballs, honestly. Yeah. And they think that like Republicans are morons. Like, they don't think they're going to use these things when the main media of the left going to point these things out. Like, I don't understand it. Like, Republicans are not idiots. We just don't like their politics. They're actually really good at politics. They're really good. That's why they've been in charge.
They're vicious.
And they're smart.
Yeah.
And that's the issue. They ripped her apart in that. They're ripping Joe Biden apart in that, which I want to talk about how weak of a candidate he is. Oh my God, yes. Democratic establishment. Like, seriously, of all the people you could have picked, him, really, the guy has, I don't know if he has dementia. I'm not a doctor, but he has some type of something wrong with him mentally.
There's a saying. Can I say it? Because I'll beep it out. I'll mute it out, but it's too good to not say it. So the Democratic establishment pushing Joe Biden like they did Hillary. There's an old saying that used to be around on the street from when I was younger, and it goes like this. And this is for the Democratic establishment. Okay, you done f***ed up the church's money. So what y'all did is y'all putting Joe Biden up there, and all you're doing is making sure Trump got 4 more years anyway. And then you're going to turn around and blame Bernie supporters for not supporting Joe Biden, because everyone who supports Bernie knows that him and Joe Biden are pretty much the same, right? No, not at all. No. I had to make my sarcasm very obvious because it's just audio, and people can't see the crazy looks on my face. But it's definitely it's crazy that they've never learned their lesson. So then I have to think that, like, I have Republican friends, and they're like, you know, we can both talk mess about Nancy Pelosi, but I'm like, why are you talking about Nancy Pelosi? She's pretty much on y'all's team. Like, she rips up papers behind him, but at the same time she's, you know, passing, she's voting with them. So it's the same thing as with Joe Biden. Joe Biden's not going to do nothing. He's said I don't want to talk bad about the president at this time. What? When, Joe? When's going to be the time, Joe? When are you going to talk about the president?
When he's beating you over the head in debate?
Oh, yeah. Please.
I mean, he's going to eat him alive. Like, he's going to eat him alive in these debates.
Yeah.
Now, I think people might just be so tired of Trump that he might just not win because of that.
Yeah, but that's a big if.
But that's a big if.
We had a definite win. We had a definite win. They pulled Joe off the bench and said, yeah, we know you haven't scored in years. Get up there.
And that's the other thing. Like, anyone that they could have picked would have been better. Klobuchar. Like I would have rather have her than Joe Biden. At least she's a fighter. She's gonna throw some staplers at Trump at least.
I'm not gonna lie. Right now, Andrew Yang throwing me $1,000 a month doesn't sound very bad. I still haven't gotten my stimulus money, so
Yeah,
compared to Joe, I'm just saying if that was what we were doing, and then to see them all drop out and all support him, it made me feel bad for Bernie. Like, here you are on the battlefield by yourself.
mm-hmm.
You're alone now. I mean, you got us with you, but your political friends, you stand on a branch by yourself.
Yeah.
Not even Warren got all the way out on that branch. You see what I'm saying? And so that was kind of disheartening. I hated how they did them the last time, and I just assume every time Bernie runs, they're going to try to do this to him. So,
but that's the thing. I mean, he's not going to run again, but they're going to try to do that to other progressives as well.
Right.
So we just got to do different things.
Right. It's the best time for us to learn from our mistakes and see what we need to do.
He's made a lot of mistakes in the campaign. I want to go over that more in detail in a different episode, but he made a lot of mistakes, and we got to win more voters. And this election kind of opened my eyes a little more that our ideas are not as popular as I thought they were. And our ideas are not, the American people are not as ready for the ideas as I thought they were. So we need to work on that. We need to be able to tell these people, these voters, that these things are possible and you deserve better. And I think that I'm not a black person, so I can't fully speak on this, but I think people just from the black community just wanted whatever they can get, as long as it's not Republican, because they've been beaten down so much. So I think that's a really frustrating thing as well. So we got to do a lot of things. I think we need to build a bottom-up election. Like, we need to have a coalition that's from the bottom up, from city council to the president. I think we kind of got into the race so quickly, and we didn't have any people to back us up. And like, we got close. I mean, you got to think about it. We went against one of the two parties, most powerful parties probably in the world when it comes to politics, and we almost beat him with a guy that's almost 80 years old that no one heard of until 5 years ago, pretty much. So we got a lot of work to do, but I think we're closer than we were, of course, 5 years ago. I didn't even know who Bernie Sanders was 5 years ago, and I wasn't even into politics 5 years ago. So that's a plus as well. So we have a lot of work to do, and that's one of the big reasons why we have the show, is to get these people elected, to interview them and give them platforms that normally they wouldn't have platforms.
Right.
To get their message out. Like,
get people them closer to the people.
Yeah, people on mainstream media don't interview people on city council. They don't interview people in Tulsa, Oklahoma that's running for like House or certain things like that.
And that's why the state is red here, because people just keep voting for the name,
Yeah, and that's the issue. And we got to change things up.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the oil prices and how is that going to affect the election. So if you weren't aware, oil went below $37 below what it usually is. So essentially, you have crude oil, corporations buy 1,000 barrels of oil per order. And the oil futures for May was below, like, minus 37, because no one's driving, no one's flying, no one's doing anything. So oil is useless right now.
Right.
And it's gone up the last couple of days, but it's still not going anywhere. And longer this thing drags out, the longer oil is going to be useless, and longer the price is going to be low, and that's going to affect our overall economy, which is going to affect President Trump in my eyes. Now, as a progressive, I'm happy about that, because I think we need to go more to renewable energy. But as of right now, it's not realistic in my eyes. So we need to do something about that. try to fight for at least the Green New Deal. I don't necessarily agree with all the Green New Deal, but aspects I agree with it. I mean, I think we do need to have more solar energy, other forms of energy as well. We need to be more creative and more active when it comes to trying to get technology that can actually be sustainable and not cost as much, as because oil is cheaper now, and these oil corporations that give so much money to these people in Congress and the government, they don't want to change. This is making them a ton of money. They don't want competition, which I find ironic when it comes to the Republican Party. They're the main people that take oil money. So I think that's going to affect the election, especially if we don't start opening things up around November, October, the fall, if this issue comes back. And if oil keeps on having problems and these oil corporations go bankrupt, that's going to affect the banks and that's going to affect everything else. Mm-hmm. So this economic situation that we're in could get a lot worse if we don't keep on social distancing and try to do our part to get this virus to at least not fully go away to a point that we can actually start our lives again and get back to, I don't think we're ever going back to the normal that we had, but at least a new normal that we're now have to stay in our house the entire time. And we can actually go into restaurants and have actual social lives.
Yeah. I hope we,
how do you feel about that, Pac?
I mean, I hope we get back to it, man. I know, ain't nobody complaining about how low the gas prices are right now.
Yeah.
But we definitely, I mean, this is the thing. Like, they've been making money off of the blood of the land for years and years. And now, whenever there's other ways to do it, they just, they're not interested in it. They've made legacies, and their families have wealth forever off of oil. Mm-hmm. And so, they're like, it'll be down for a while, but like, they haven't made billions of dollars last year. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I don't think I've seen a lot of stuff on Twitter yesterday about, people saying, well, what, like feeling bad for the oil companies. Like, are you serious? Like, what are we talking about here?
No, I don't feel bad for oil companies either. Like I would hope they go away to at least a certain degree. At least they're not as powerful as they were. I want to see that. I want to see us, like I was saying, I want to see us more invest into more renewable energy. We could save our planet.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna be we're dead last. We're dead last on that, man. There's so many people ahead of us.
China's worse than we are, but we shouldn't be where we are. We should be leading the world in this. We're not. Yeah. And this is just corruption, honestly. These oil companies make so much money, they don't want to change.
No.
Which, speaking of China, I want to talk about China as well. Joe Biden, he had a ad criticizing President Trump about China and how he's kowtowing to China and certain things. I thought it was a fairly effective ad. I didn't think it was absolutely the greatest ad ever, but I didn't think it was a terrible ad either. At first, so certain people on the left had problems with the ad, saying it was xenophobic. And at first, I didn't know exactly what they meant by that. I asked Pac, "Is like, am I missing something?" And then I really thought about it, but I was missing something. I had the assumption that, like, well, of course people know that it's not the Chinese people's fault, it's the government's fault. But unfortunately, not as many people are as intelligent as your common people, unfortunately, would figure that out. Well, we're not blaming China, the Chinese people, blame the government. But that's the thing. That's what the Biden campaign needs to work on. It needs to put the Chinese government, not just China, and just not scapegoating China as much, because it's not just their fault. Now, I don't know exactly what was the cause of the virus? Was it the original story? It came from a wet market, which is possible. What did it come from? Labs? I don't know.
Yeah.
But of course, China didn't have handled the situation well. They didn't say anything for about a week. They silenced anyone that would say anything, which if they did say anything that might have completely changed how effective this virus was and how much it affected everyone in the world. If they would have actually did something about it, not try to cover it up like they with in past, China's actually done a lot better job with viruses. They've squashed viruses and that were way worse than COVID-19. But they're just so corrupt, and their president is so thin-skinned and a buffoon, honestly, that he didn't want any dissent. He didn't want to get blamed for anything. So, of course, we need to have certain rhetoric and when it comes to the Chinese government, but not blame Chinese people because they had nothing to do with this.
Right.
And I'm just like, because that's the unfortunate thing is people have already gotten attacked. People from Asian, not even as Chinese, Asian descent, have gotten attacked by monsters, blaming them for it, even if it's not even the Chinese people. And then, of course, Chinese people didn't even have anything to do with it in the first place.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think criticizing their government, that's
Completely
perfectly that's a completely fair thing to do. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to make people be held accountable for what they do. But then you've got like what was that? Maybe like a week ago. What was that? Fox News dude, Lou something. Lou Dobbs was on there suggesting we go to war with China because of this. So see, you've got like, yes, we need to hold their government accountable, and for whatever part they may have taken in this. Like I said, we don't really know, like if it was this or if it was that. All we know is when they responded, when we knew about it, and like now, how many cases do they have? You see what I'm saying?
And they're not being. There's no way they're being honest about their numbers either.
No. But just like always with China, you take it with a grain of salt, whatever they're telling you, you know. But yeah, I disagree with the right wanting to push a war with China.
That would be terrible.
Yeah, I'm like, okay,
no
guys.
one wants that.
Yeah. But no, I think holding them accountable and criticizing is perfectly fair. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to, analyze what we think is going on. And if we have criticisms, we're supposed to be honest about that. But I think that for wherever it came from or however it got here, when you're dealing with somebody, when you're dealing with a government that is dishonest, you got to also remember that they're dealing with our government and how dishonest we are as well, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's that's pretty much all I got on that one.
I mean, we of course we need to reevaluate our relations with China. We need to start trying to get our jobs back here, eliminating the chain line between us and China when it comes to trade. We need to make things here again, and that's one of the big issues that COVID-19's really crystallized is that we don't make anything in this country anymore. Like all these things that we're missing is because China is not making anything, and we get our stuff from China.
Yeah,
and it is like Lou Dobbs. Like if we go to war with China, that's going to be like an absolute nightmare. That'll probably end up in like nuclear war, honestly. So only idiots want that. Two, if we start a Cold War like we did with the Russians, that's going to completely jack up our economy. And neither side of the establishment want that, because China makes them a ton of money because they can ship all their jobs there and have people work for pennies. And they have a authoritarian government that they can't do anything against them, so they can't get better wages. So they're in a crapshoot. So us as our United States needs to do something about it and start making things here again, not focusing on having these places like China or Taiwan or these other countries that make these things for so much less and don't pay their employees anything. So that's a lot of things we need to figure out of the country when it comes to China. I'm frustrated with China. I'm frustrated even more with our government, how slow and how ineffective we were at first. I'm not going to beat down Trump too much. I think he's done a lot better job than he was doing in the beginning, but now he's just giving it to the governors, and you got governors that going to do whatever they want. We have our governors going to try to reopen things. We have Georgia's governors do even worse.
Oh,
than
George,
ours.
don't get me on him. That's the guy opening the tattoo parlors and something else first. That's the first thing he's going to open is tattoo parlors and gyms, because everybody's been waiting to work out and get tattoos, right?
Right. I mean, the governor of Georgia essentially wants to reopen everything.
Yeah.
And that's going to completely not solve the issue.
Vegas.
And I didn't even know about that.
Oh, yes. When you get a chance, please watch her.
Oh no.
On Anderson Cooper saying how she wants to reopen Vegas, and he's like shaking his head and holding his head the whole time. Like, you're saying you want to open? Well, yes, the restaurants, the bars, the casinos, right? He keeps saying like the casinos. Are you going to say the casinos, or you're not going to say the casinos?
Yeah.
But yeah, come on, people, man. If we can't work together on keeping our the human race alive, then we have nothing we can work together on. Yeah. That's like the absolute thing where you think everyone who's breathing air should agree on.
Yeah. But well, we're getting pretty close to wrapping it up. But I want to tell one story about my Grubhub experience. I am a driver for Grubhub. I deliver food in the area, and I had a really frustrating delivery earlier this week. It was at a hospital. I'm not going to name the hospital because I don't want to snitch and put this person on blast. I'm not going to give any details about the person, but the person ordered some food, which I thought was kind of odd, and at first I thought it was ridiculous. I haven't delivered to a hospital in like a month, so I thought it was weird. The person wanted me to go through a certain area, like through like a little, pretty much like a hallway essentially, that I wouldn't get stopped from security, because at this hospital, like I'm assuming other hospitals, they have security at every door, making sure that if you're coming in, you're supposed to be coming in, and if you don't have anything. So I'm like, all right, that's weird. I mean, I guess we're opening the hospital up a little more. So I, of course, didn't really want to take the delivery, but I kind of needed to. So I put my gloves and I put my mask on, and I went through the thing, and I'm walking around looking at people. One person has a mask on, other people don't have masks on. I'm like, all right, that's ridiculous, but all right, I'm continuing going down the hall. I finally find where I need to go. The person opens the door. That person doesn't have a glove or mask on, and I give the food to that person, and the person's coworker doesn't have anything on it either. Now, I know someone that works at said hospital, and that she told me that maybe because they don't see anyone, maybe that's why. But I'm thinking to myself, one, that's ridiculous, because one, everyone in the hospital should be wearing masks. That should be mandatory everywhere in the hospital. Two, let's say if someone not as responsible as me wasn't wearing a mask, wasn't wearing gloves, actually had the Rona, goes in the hospital, gives the food to that person. That person gives the Rona to the customer gives the Rona to their coworker, and the coworkers give the Rona to everyone else in the hospital. So I'm like, what the heck is going on? And that was a really frustrating experience for me. I'm thinking, if hospitals are not taking this seriously enough, who else is not taking this seriously enough?
Right.
I expect a hospital of all people to take this the most seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's ridiculous. And then we got our mayor that's this cowtown, our idiot governor that's this wants to reopen everything. So
Can we talk about how you just literally made me change from now on? Whenever I talk about it, I'm gonna call it the Rona. I mean, that's it. There's nothing else to say about it. But yeah, man, it's
I got that from people from New York, and I pretty much have been calling it that
the Rona.
Yeah,
man, it's a crazy time, man. The governor is that's just a bullheaded move. But when you look at who he is and you see what he's represented before all of this, it's not really that much of a surprise.
And for me, this is not even a left-right thing. The governor of Ohio, he's done an amazing job. So it's not like a left-right thing for me. It's just, are you competent or not competent?
No, yeah, there's definitely people on the right that believe in science and stuff. They're just not that many.
No.
And I gotta be honest.
yeah. And that is a big issue on the right. And we have the mainstream media that's fawning over Cuomo and think he's done an absolutely amazing job, which is completely false. He's done a terrible job. He didn't take it seriously enough in the beginning. He didn't do enough when he should have. And then we have him on TV every day talking about everything he's talking about. I don't even listen to him anymore because it's just the same nonsense every day. So then we have people in California. I don't really like the governor, but he's done a great job as well. So it's not just Republican or Democrat. Republicans are doing a terrible job and Democrats are doing an amazing job. It's a lot of incompetent people in charge, and that's should open a lot of people's eyes how incompetent that our current government is, not just from our president and his administration. It's top down, unfortunately.
Yeah. Now we got to work bottom up.
Yeah. And we have an incompetent Democratic establishment that doesn't do anything to combat Trump's administration. This yells at them about nonsense and claps and tears up papers and doesn't do much anything else.
They're not fighters.
No, they're not fighters. They're either paid to be weak or they're just weak and terrible at politics.
Right.
So that's pretty much all I got to say for this week.
All right, well, we definitely gonna be back next week with another episode. You guys hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share these videos, help us get the channel booming. We appreciate y'all for tuning in.